Welcome to the DraftKings defense analysis for Week 16. I'm Jason Gilbo, JGilbo11. With me is Russell Clay at Russell J. Clay. Taking a look at defenses here this week, and I feel like more can open up as the week goes on, but pretty much these are the ones that I'll be looking at. Just a lot happening here going on throughout Week 17.
A lot of trash. There's just a lot of trash. It's kind of like, when you have that Christmas party and you just got a lot of trash the next day, but like the trash doesn't come for a few days and it's just sitting there and you're like, I don't know when to put this out on the street. What if there's like a windy day? And yeah, it's just like sitting in your garage or your stoop. This week is.
This is the trash-filled stoop of NFL weeks.
Yeah, it is. It is just a bunch of crap, trash, shit.
It's bad.
Yeah.
Looking at cash game defenses, and I mean, pretty hard to get away from these guys. Seattle, 3,700, taking on San Francisco. I think it's pretty safe to say you can kind of use basically these top options against a lot of these teams here.
Yeah, I mean, San Francisco is garbage. No Carlos Hyde anymore. No Vance McDonald. They just don't have anything to move the ball. They have no weapons. So Torrey Smith on IR, there's just nothing there. There's just a rotten apple core of a team left by Trent. Trent Baalke ate an apple, threw it in the trash, and that's what this team is. Just
It's
a
bad.
rotten apple core. Raccoon doesn't even want it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, and you look, Seattle coming off obviously a game where, they didn't play particularly well on defense, but as you pointed out, you're going up against a team where it's Kaepernick, Sean Drone, and I can't even tell you the wide receivers, to be honest with you.
Quentin Patton, Chris Harper. I always get confused with Chris Harper's. There's one from Cal and there's one from like Kansas State way back in the day. He was like a super freak athlete, like jacked guy. I don't know what happened to him. I think it's the Cal guy. But
let me ask you a question. Do you remember Jordan Shipley?
Yeah.
So what do you think?
And
he's up to?
Jackson Shipley.
What do you think Jordan's up to these days?
Probably a sales rep at Target.
No, he milks elk.
Milks elk.
Yeah.
As in milks them.
Milks them for
like
milk.
For breeding?
No, for milk.
Oh. Okay, good. That's a much better visual than what I was expecting. All right. Well, anyway, Seattle, they're going to box them around kind of like this chick that's going to fight Ronda Rousey at the next UFC. She's going to pound her into the dirt, kind of like what Seahawks are going to do to this 49ers team.
Yeah, easy pay-up option this week. Your next one here, Houston Texans taking on a Tennessee team that just lost Mariota, just lost all hope for the season.
It's all over. Game over. This is going to be an ugly one. Texans defense, they're the type of team that should be able to take advantage of this. I know their run D is not great, but without Mariota, this Titans team just doesn't have anything. There's nothing there. It's going to be rough to move the ball for them.
Yeah, you look at that team total rather low. Houston coming off, a pretty good defensive performance. Overall, I think, you can look at them in cash and GPPs basically this week. So, GPP defenses, New England taking on Miami, 3,200. Bill Belichick says he's, going to be out there playing to win, not really looking to rest anyone.
Yeah, and this Dolphins team, I know it's Matt Moore. I know the Dolphins sort of ran it up in garbage time against them last time. This is not a good team. It's not a good offense. Don't get it confused. Patriots, easy pay-up option. Probably one of the highest floors on the slate. I know it's a GPP defense, but in terms of this week, what is a floor? I don't think there is. It's going to be ugly. So I think you take this when you can. I do think they have pretty high upside this week.
Yeah, playing really well of late too, in terms of kind of fantasy production. Baltimore on the road against Cincy. Baltimore wasn't really on my radar this week in terms of a GPP defense. So curious to see your take here.
Yeah, coming off getting beat up by the Steelers against the Cincinnati team, Tyler Eifert on IR. Really, all they have is Brendan LaFell left. Running game isn't working. Uh, Ravens, this could be an interesting game where they blow them out. I could see a blowout here, and in the Ravens' favor. They're probably looking out to take out some aggression on their woeful division rival. So I kind of see it going that way.
And once again, I mean, Baltimore's never really priced up like a top defense, so you kind of get that mid ranges they usually have set most of
Mm-hmm.
this year, and they can bring that upside.
Yeah.
So, next one here under the Homer pick section, Los Angeles Rams take on
Oh,
Arizona. I'm going to let you take away with this one. Yeah,
Homer
fire
pick.
away.
Yes. Homer pick. That's what this is. The Rams are a bad defense. They've given up on the season. But they do have Aaron Donald. They do have some fun players on that defense. Carson Palmer is horrific at this point, not because of him, but because of that offensive line and the lack of receiving options. They can't go deep. Yes, David Johnson's going to get his, but I could see a few Carson Palmer mistakes, and that'll obviously be good for 2,700. So that's that.
Yeah, that is that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's that. I mean, David Johnson's going to go for 100 total yards and 5 touchdowns, but I still think there's upside here.
Anyone else you're kind of looking at maybe as the week goes on? If some other possible situations come about, any other defenses you might take a look?
Yeah, like on Saturday night, you check the projections, and this week you're just gonna, shut your computer, um, find a nice Nick Cage movie, and I've been really looking forward to watching this one, Drive Angry. This one. Now, I know a lot of these Nick Cage movies aren't in the comedy section, but I watch them as comedies, and I'll tell you what, if you want your life to go to a whole new level, it's almost like watching a series. Like the evolution of Nick Cage is pretty amazing throughout the years. So the self narration, the you know his passive aggressive looks, the smiles, it's all just a bucket of joy that I suggest to everyone. So instead of putting all your effort into DFS this week, check out a Nick Cage movie.
Can you give us a Nick Cage impression before we head on out?
No, because I would need the self narration in the background of I would just be sitting here, but it'd be a 15-minute talk of him and what he's thinking about life and things that are going on around him and what he's not doing. So I don't have that ability to make those sounds come, but yeah.
Well, okay. I'm fairly disappointed then. So I was
Yeah.
expecting one, but whatever.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's going to wrap things up this week. If you want to check out Russell's article, you can head on over to dailyfantasycafe.com. Check out the cash game and GPP defenses. Also, be sure to check out our optimizer this week. And I think we both highly recommend let the projections sit on the stove and just, warm and just take in the spices for a good couple of days and then kind of wait as news, sulfurs out through the air.
Sulfurs out. Yeah, and hopefully you slip into a coma and
Well, that's going to
miss
wrap things
this
up
week.
here on that positive note by Russell. Be sure to check out the rest of our Week 17 content. We'll see you guys next week.